Welcome, everybody, to the Choey and Jandler's The Fun Time Super Terrific Happy Hour. Welcome, Choey.
Welcome, Jandler. Oh, that's good stuff.
Now I got to wait for that fizz to go down. No, seriously. And that reminds me, you watched Airplane back in the day, right? The movie?
Like one time.
What? You didn't like that? But I used to watch that movie all the time. You didn't like that movie that much?
Not really.
Oh. But I always loved when it'd be like, and that's when my drinking problem developed. And it's him, like, not being able to get it, like, in his mouth and pouring it all over his face. I just like that extremely literal sense of humor.
Because
They had like that Naked Gun.
I watched like all the Naked Guns. The Naked Guns were pretty good.
All right. So let's welcome everybody to October 27th, our holidays today. Did you know, Joey, it's National American Beer Day? Not National Beer Day, National American Beer Day.
America.
Yeah. Keep the stars and stripes on it, right?
Just like when they say what Lone Star beer is like the national beer of Texas, and I'm like, it just makes you sound stupid that y'all do that.
We'll fix that. It is also Cranky Coworkers Day. And this is why I said channel your inner Choey, like you were joking with me earlier today.
AKA
because I was texting
Choey
you about
holiday.
something.
I know, because it was all wasting my team, and I'm like, team or time? Are you that pissed right now that you're all
You're like, hey, you know what pissed means in English in England?
drunk?
Yeah. I was like, are you insinuating I was wasted?
No.
No,
I
no,
learned that
I
one.
was.
Learned that one. What was it 1997 with Chumba? And I'm like, oh,
Oh
that's
yeah.
a like you get dehydrated after like peeing that long. And I'm
He's
like,
like, they're just urinating everywhere. I don't understand it.
I'm like, oh, what kind of song is that?
No, it's how well as a parent, but when they're younger, you try to do something like I'm trying to text or respond to parents sometimes, and kids are talking to you, and you're like, they do it like the office will call me right or whatever, right? I'm on the phone, and kids will come asking me stuff, and I'm like, I'm on the phone. You gotta wait. Leave me alone right now. You gotta wait. So
Should do like a whole lesson on that phone etiquette.
yeah. All right, moving on to our next topic. By the way, I was trying to explain to you offline that last episode, you were like the Seinfeld low talker. Like I was surprised that you didn't convince me to wear like a puffy shirt, on this episode. But I don't want to be a pirate. You're like
We'll save that kind of stuff for if we ever do like live like video like casts and stuff like that. Just random like coats and stuff and shirts. One of us can dress like Kramer when he dressed like a pimp.
Yeah. I said turn pimp.
Boy. What? So what? Okay, explain to me this. What? Your Monday was a holiday?
Yeah, okay. So this is a couple episodes that I wanted to bring about and I kind of forgot. Remember we had what probably would have been different for you and us. Indigenous Peoples Day, right?
What? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Were you guys off completely?
No.
Okay. Staff was kids were, but staff wasn't, right?
No.
Yeah. That's how we were. So
Oh
but
no
it was
no.
supposed
For
to
a kid,
be
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I don't even know why I said yeah. I'm. What am I? How many am I in? Jeez. No, not at all. That's why I was like, what are you talking about? No.
well, you guys didn't get that day off at all?
No, the kids
Kids
that
either?
went to school too. Like the
Oh.
my boys were like, why can't we have Columbus Day off? I'm like, you haven't had it for like 3 years since we've been in the school district. Why are you bitching about it now?
Oh, I thought y'all got it off last year. See what happens is the students are off, but we're not. It's like a work day, right?
Go.
And we were supposed to like PLC for like an hour, and then the rest of the time was supposed to be ours. But there kept being like meetings, and then like I was trying to schedule conferences, and I was sending it out. And the parents was nice; they were checking. They're like, "Hey, Monday's a holiday. You sure you want this?" And I was like, "Well, Monday's a holiday for your student, your son, or your daughter. It's not a holiday for me." But that's why I was like, "Yeah, we didn't really get to. I didn't get as much time to work in my room as I thought I was.
Go.
They lied to us, admin
such
people,
is
right?
such is life, brother. Such is life.
I know. All right, got a little kid problem solving that's been going on lately. Like so I was talking with a friend of mine. Remember when we were younger, like stuff you had to like saw. Like you remember if you got poop on your shoe, like how you had to figure out ways to get it off. You know, like a stick or a puddle of water or grass. You know, things like
Yeah.
that. Nowadays, like kids just throw it away and go buy a new one, or they go get their parents to buy a new one or whatever. But I don't know what happened after school because it had to be after school the day before. We come to school. It's morning recess. We have morning recess and then we have regular recess in the day. But morning recess for everybody. They go to breakfast and then go outside. And I always go out there every day just to check on the kids, make sure they've eaten breakfast. And I have our playground equipment for our grade level. And on our blacktop, there was somebody had taken a cone and put it inside the hoop, right? So and the cone was uh like the chain, they don't have nets, they have chain links, and so like it was stuck in there pretty good. And I'm not tall enough to like really reach it, so I eventually ended up having to go get a ladder. But so this was in the morning. When we came in for a later recess, I a kid was trying to do it, and I took a basketball and I was trying to hit it from the side, right? Just trying to see if I could punch it out from the side. That wasn't working, and I was like, all right, you know what? Just go play basketball somewhere else. Go shoot another hoop, right? I'll take care of this when you guys are eating lunch. I'll go get my ladder and I'll take care of it. Well, I turn around. This kid takes the basketball and shoots it into the hoop, which gets the ball stuck. And I'm like, what the? Looking for my beat button. I was like, what the? I was like, I just told you to go shoot somewhere else. And and I was like, I was biting my tongue because I was mad, but I didn't want to be like upset, right? But I was just like, I ended up asking that kid, like, what are you thinking? I was like, what in your mind made you believe that you could knock the cone out by shooting above it? When the cone is just wide as the. He was like, I don't know, and I was like, well, now we just lost the basketball. You need to go do something else until I get it down later. But and I was worried because third grade comes out after us. I had to tell one of the teachers like, hey, keep him away from that net. I'll be right back because I didn't want somebody else shooting more stuff in there.
You
You
go,
know.
you come back during lunch and there's like 17 basketballs somehow like stuck like a big old ice cream scoop.
I know, like a tennis ball and stuff in there. Where did this come from?
Tennis ball, basketball, football, somehow a dead bird that got
Where
pinched up in there.
we're on and speaking, we'll come back to dead animals in a second. But we're right next to the blacktop's right next to the gym. So I go into the gym and I was like I was hoping they had a ladder in there or something I could stand on. Or like something, like a broomstick or something. I found a bowling pin. I was like, well, let me see if I can reach it. I couldn't. But as I was going back in to put the bowling pin away, some kid snuck in and I kind of thought they were going to the bathroom. And they just didn't want to yell at me. And I turned around and it was some kid. He's known to be one of the handfuls and in one of the other classrooms. And I was like, hey, man, you got to leave. And he's like, oh, like he was like the S word. Apparently, this kid cusses all the time. And I was like, does he have Tourette's? Like he just says cuss words like nonstop. But he doesn't cuss in front of his classroom teacher, just everybody else. And I was like, interesting. You experienced that? These kids just laying bombs left and right.
Yeah, more middle school kids than elementary though. They,
I felt bad because other students would be like, "Hey, Mr. Bing, so and so said a bad word," and I was like, "Look, anybody else, I'll contact the parents, write in their folders, things like that." It was like this kid, I just need you to ignore it. Just get away. I mean, let it go. Go play somewhere else. Because it's not like He's not gonna listen to me, and so it's just like whatever.
so and so's cussing. You're like, what the? You want me to do about it?
Yeah. Once you go sit over there with that, uh, you know,
It's going off. The
no,
kids all.
no. But speaking of dead animals, man, we've been getting a lot of crickets in our school lately,
Yeah.
and it's like, man, these kids are like they're always messing with the crickets, and they're like, want to squish it and stuff, and I'm like, it's not a roach, guys. It's not attacking you. Just ignore it. But like just mutilated bugs everywhere, and I'm just like,
Do crickets bring disease? Like I've never even thought of that. I know flea
uh
was it ticks have Lyme disease. Do crickets like have? I would think probably
That's a
not,
good
right? Because
question.
that's
If
why
they
a lot of countries eat them. They're probably
if
fine.
they if they do, I've never heard of it. I mean, I've heard of, like I said, fleas, ticks, rats. Things. Birds. You gotta be careful about, especially dead birds. Every time a kid picks up a feather, I feel bad, but I'm like, wash your hands. You know?
Nice.
Yeah. And then that leads into another. It's amazing. This turned into like an animal episode, like like Animal Planet. But so today you see in my notes right there. Speaking of animals, we're going to recess, and on the left side, like if I'm looking at the playground, to the left there's neighborhood, right, and
Yep.
it's right, basically up right up next to our school, and some two dogs came from over there, and they just come running around. They're friendly dogs, but I'm telling the students, leave the dog alone. Don't pet the dog. Don't pet. Oh, like I'm like, hey, don't pet the dog. And I'm the first teacher out there because the other three, I'm always early. So I'm the only teacher out there with about 70 students, and I'm like, stop! Don't touch the dogs. Leave them alone. And the kids are petting them, and I'm like, stop! I told you to stop. And at that time, the other teachers came out, and so one of them was yelling at the kids too, and we were like, we said stop, but we got the kids on the playground, and then we have what we call the courtyard area, and there's like a gate, and I didn't lock the gate, but I closed the gate, and I kept the dogs in the courtyard. And then one of the teachers called the office, and they like said they were gonna contact animal control. I was about to say poison control, but that's the wrong control. But they're gonna contact animal control and whatnot. And so I was like, okay, so we're in the court. We did our recess, and we went in through the gym, so we didn't have to go by the courtyard because there was a one of the IAs was kind of watching the dogs, making sure that they didn't get inside the school. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna help so and so kind of shoo the dogs out or whatever, right? What in between when I seen her, like 10 minutes later, they must have called her to do something else. She was gone. We sending all the kids to the gym. I ended up being in the courtyard by myself. I texted one of the third grade teachers, but he must not have seen it as he started to bring his kids out. And I was like, hey, it's like, I'm trying to get these dogs out of the way for you guys. And it started sprinkling. So he turned these kids around. They said indoor recess. But then, see, we go from recess to lunch. And so I called the office because I'm like, what do I do? I was like, there's dogs here. They wouldn't really follow me unless there was a group around me. They wanted to be like they're that friendly, right? They didn't want to just listen to me. Um, they wanted to be around a group of people. But so I called the office and I'm just kind of like, hey, what do I need to do? I was like, these two dogs are in the courtyard. I got to go eat lunch, take my students to the cafeteria. But I'm trying to make sure people can get outside to recess or whatever. And they're like, well, we called animal control and they're not going to do anything about it because I guess they picked up the dogs before, and they're like, the dog's just gonna come back. So they're like, we can't do it. Whoever's house it is, they must have some kind of hole under their fence or whatever that they
Yeah.
haven't fixed. They contacted the school district's police, right? And and they said the same thing pretty much. They're like, yeah, we can't deal with anything about that. So then I was like, well, what do I do? And they're like, just leave him in the courtyard. And I was just like, what? But at some point somebody came to get him because I know I went and talked to the fourth grade teachers and I was like, hey, y'all might want to go to the gym to get outside because there's dogs in the courtyard. And then I let first grade know because first grade has recess like 1:10 or something, and by then the dogs were gone. So it was an eventful animal day. That's all
Maybe
I got to
somebody
say.
ate them.
Yeah, it's not Thailand, bro.
Chili, chili dogs tomorrow. Surprise, surprise. This tastes a little funny. I haven't seen those dogs in a while.
Did you say chili dog surprise?
Yep.
What's the surprise?
Oh, yeah. All right, you want to roll to break?
Yeah, man, let's go ahead and roll to our break and we'll be right back. All right, we're back now for our
Toast around the
toast.
world.
Toast around the world, yo.
Totes my goats.
All right. Unfortunately, at this point, no new countries yet.
Gosh darn
But
it.
I mean, we still got we still got 10 countries. That's not bad, you
Dude,
know.
oh, every time we do the toast around the world, I see Barbados, and then I'm like, God, I didn't forget.
You know, you just need to tell the family. Now we got to take a vacation to
they're,
Barbados.
they're like,
It's research.
we're not gonna listen to your show anymore. That's what we're gonna do.
You're like, you just tell, hey, honey, it's research. We got to go there and learn this accent. You braid your beard or whatever.
I have like
All right,
cornrows in my beard. It's all
yeah.
it hurts. Pull it tighter.
All right. So as we've been doing recently, let's say all of them, and then a couple big sips for
Yeah,
everybody.
sounds
All
good.
right, all right. In Germany, we say
Prost.
Prost. In South Korea, we say
Gunbei.
Gunbei. In Brazil, we say
Saude.
Saude. In England, we say
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. In Barbados, in Australia, we say
Cheers, mate.
in Barbados, we say cheers.
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 I don't know. Cheers. Whatever.
In French Canada, I'll be a little lazy today. We say Santé.
Sante.
Yeah. In regular Canada, we say cheers,
Cheers,
a
eh?
you
You
hoser.
hoser.
In Colombia, we say
Salud.
salud. In Philippines, we say tagay.
Tagay.
And then for I realize the parentheses is messed up there. And then in Norway, this is for hooks. We say
Skull.
skull. I hope I pronounced that one right.
Um, if we ever do like a live version of this, like or like an in-person stuff, we should just have like a bunch of like dresses and hats and whatnot for like each one of those.
Oh,
Just
like the Lee Corso when he picks the college winner.
yeah, just pop on little things for them and just like there you go.
Yeah, it's true. All right. And now let's move on to teachable moments. What are you laughing at? That little photo I have there?
No, the don't buy new school supplies. I'm like, wait, where's this going? I want to learn. What are you?
All
What are
right,
you
so
learning?
here's my teachable moment. Right. This is a note for me, for really me and teachers, not for parents. Parents, you buy your school supplies, but I know like teachers tend to spend a lot of their own money on things for the classroom, right? What I've noticed last year and this year, kids drop a lot of stuff on the ground, and then they're too lazy to pick it up. Now, eventually, this leads to potential arguments where they tell me, "Mr. Bing, so and so stole my pencil," and I'm like, "What?" And then I go ask that kid, "Where'd you find it?" It was on the ground, and I'm like, "Well, they didn't steal it. They found it on the floor, man. Maybe you should pick up your stuff." But no, they drop so much on the floor that every day I'm just like, "Pick it up." We have a bag, a strictly pencil bag. Right now, it's one big one. Well, actually, it used to be one big one. A lot of them have been using them. But then we also have crayon bags and stuff. We have 2 crayon bags and markers because they just leave it on the ground, and we go over there and swoop it up and pick it up for them. In the past, I'd be like buying pencils for kids. And I remember one of my assistant principals was like, he's like, "Yeah, go do it. It's not that big a deal." And I was like, "Well, I know it only costs like $3 to buy, like one thing, but if I have to do that every week, I mean, not that I'm like that poor, but I'm like, it adds up, especially that and these snacks, man." But no, I'm just saying. So that's my teachable moment tip.
Dude, so like super
Pick up the
wasteful.
floor.
There's nothing I can do to go back and change it. But like I had like I don't know where I developed the stupid superstition from. But like in college, like whenever I take a test, like Scantron tests, I would
Mm-hmm.
just toss the pencil afterwards. Like I was like, well, all the answers for that test are done. Like that pencil's done for me. And I would just
And
totally
you
zip
threw
it.
it away. You're like,
Yeah, it's like
you
done.
served your purpose.
So I would toss a pen or a pencil depending on what kind of test it was. And I'm like, that
Surprised
was
you can
really
go through like a ritual where you like burn it or like bury it or something.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know where it came from. Like it's like I
That
started doing
free
that
out
the
to
last couple
sea.
years, which is stupid considering like the way I started off my college career where I didn't have one in the first place.
Yeah, where we started off our college career.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to throw you under the bus, but yeah, we. I was actually telling somebody that story like last week at work, and
The
I was like,
the
I don't.
final story, the story about the final, when we
Just
showed
about
up
like every
completely
time,
unprepared.
like, and I'm like, dude, like, why? Like, I don't understand what was going through my brain. Like, I didn't just go buy a pack of Scantrons because I was like buying like we're like, here, I got like a quarter, and I'll buy a Scantron for me for $1.
Weren't we always? We were always late to class. Like I don't think we ever got there I think we were always like a minimum of like 10 to 15 minutes late. Like we were
It was,
never on time.
and it was a 50-minute class. We like missed like a third of the class or a quarter of the
I
class
don't know if it was that
already.
much, but we were always late, and that's why we always had to sit up front, the two front sheets. But everybody, I laugh at it now, but if we were the teacher, if I'd be like so frustrated with the student. But
We're
we
smart.
always were late. We were always unprepared, and it's just kind of like people had to be like, "You're paying for this education, right? That you guys are wasting." But I still remember the final because you and me were like, we talked to the professor on the side. Hey, can you give us a couple of minutes real quick? We need to go down to the university store and buy a Scantron and a pencil.
And he didn't
And
let
he's like,
us.
no, he's like, ask your classmates. And we're like, no, 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 they hate us. They hate us. This is like, just let us go real quick. We'll be right back. And he's like, no, 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 do it. And
It'll
so
it'll be okay.
I
We're like, please no, please no.
I can't. Was it you or me that asked? I don't remember.
I don't remember, but I just
I
remember
feel
the
like it was
reaction.
me, but I do remember like whoever one of us said it. It was they were like, hey, we're unprepared again. Or we like, hey, can someone help us out? We need Scantron. Anyone got two extra Scantrons and two pencils? And the whole class was like, oh my god, come prepared.
And that's the thing is, I'm like, what kind of a teacher is just gonna be like, go ahead and it up for your whole class and just interrupt them in the middle of their test? They show up on time. We're like 15 minutes late for the final exam. Why not just let us go get like? I'm sure he knew like we're not gonna pass the test. Probably we're scraping by with like a D.
No,
Why not?
we got by.
Huh?
We got by. We were
We
borderline, but we
passed.
got by.
We passed, but that's not doesn't mean
We
anything.
we were the people that just did was it just enough. That's basically what we were. We were just enough students.
Yeah, for a while there,
Yeah.
damn sure. Like that's what's it's sad. I look back, I'm like, how did I ever get a job back in the schools? Like I was horrible at like when I first started college. That's what
You
you
know,
get.
to me the funniest part of or the funniest next part of the story is like how the next semester, like I know I buckled down and you and Tharp were looking for me that one day
For like
and you
two
finally
hours.
found me. You're like, hey man, where you been? We've been looking for you for like an hour and a half or something. I was like, I was in the library. And you're like, oh, the one place we didn't look.
And that was back when that university wasn't super huge. Cause so like we were checking each building like three times. Like where could he be? Where could he be? I don't know.
Back when
He couldn't have
back when
left.
all we had was like a pager. So it wasn't like you couldn't just like text somebody or call them. Like, hey,
I
you
know.
actually had to go walk around and look, right?
And we're just wandering around for you, and wandering and wandering. And you're like, I was in the library studying. We're like, ah, dang, you got me. Dun-dun-dun.
All right. So now let's move on to a little. We're gonna end the episode with a little. Did you know here, right? A little fun type of trivia knowledge, so you can always remember this, and I don't know, surprise somebody later on. Did you know it takes 364 licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? This is according to some engineering students in Purdue University who designed a licking machine. I think that alone is just like out there,
Weird,
right?
weird.
And they found that it took so sometimes it took a little bit less, at 364 licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. For what it's worth, 20 volunteers tried this same experiment using their actual tongues, and they said it averaged 252 licks. So I guess the human tongue was better than that machine, that licking machine,
I
But
mean,
I always loved that commercial, the Tootsie Pop commercial. That kid asked the owl, like, how many licks? And he's like, let me see. One, two, three. And then he bites it. And he's like, three licks. And you're just like,
I'm looking at the
the
pic.
80s, man.
I'm
I
looking at
miss
the
some of
picture
those
of that
commercials.
kid. That's a horrible graphic for a kid. It looks like a mongoloid, like weird
Looks
old
like he's not wearing any clothes either, doesn't it?
no, like some weird dumpy. Like he got bit like in the ass for a butt. His arm
You know,
looks
I
like it's coming out of its neck.
I say 80s commercial, but because we watched it in the 80s, but the animation kind of looks 70s, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It looks
like
old.
the I'm a Bill. What was it from
Yeah,
Schoolhouse of Rock? I'm only a
yeah,
Bill, or just whatever the song was. You know
yeah.
that old Fisherman's Tale from the
I do.
Sea.
That's the one where I told you I thought because we went to the is it Magic Theater? We went to Magic Theater last year, and I thought we were gonna see School of Rock, and we saw Schoolhouse of Rock, and I was like, "What?" I thought Jack Black was gonna be there, man.
Tenacious D comes out. You're all like, "Where's he
Yeah,
at, man?"
I was like, "I didn't pay for this. I'm shocked.
I don't think you paid for it in the first place, did you? Wasn't it a school field trip? You took kids.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I mean, I paid for it mentally and physically because I couldn't really rest. And then it tells you we had a big throw up mess on the way back. That wasn't fun.
I remember that story.
That wasn't fun at all. But all right, social media plug there, sir.
Okay, so you can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, as Choey and Jan, Choey, the letter N, Jan. We're also on YouTube with some YouTube shorts here and there. Did I miss? I got Threads, I got Facebook, I got Instagram, X.
Sounds right. TikTok. We always
Oh, there you
forget
go,
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok.
So many social medias, man. That's like just
Oh, and it's I've been behind on everything, and the reason I'm behind on everything is there's just so much going on, man. So much going. I never get a breather. Um, but I did. So a friend of my dad's texted me earlier, and I called him back because he used to play music with my dad, and we were just chatting, and and he asked me how I'm doing. I was like, I kind of started doing podcasting. It's like last year, and it's like a hobby that I love doing. He's like, oh really? No, he's like, no kidding. I guess he does one every now and then where he he's a musician and he'll record with other musicians, and he does the thing, and I got to start listening to it. I'd promote it right now, but I don't remember the name of it right now. Um, but he asks musicians that everyone he talks to, he's like, if you had 5 records, if you're on a desert island, you only had 5 records, which albums would they be? And then he asked them like why they did that or whatever. So it's pretty cool. Like he shared with me his 5 records, and I only remember one of them right now, but it's amazing. It's like, hey, I know that the record. One of the record I remember. It's like I know that record. It's Jet. God, now I can't remember the name of the album, but it came out in 2001 or 2001 2002. It's like Move On or something. I think was the name of the album. But I was like, that's pretty cool. So anyway, I sent him our podcast and he sent me his,
yeah,
and he listened to it a little bit. And because I was telling him about how we kind of went through some sound issues and things like that. Especially our Simpsons days in the beginning.
yeah,
And he texted back. He only listened to a little bit of it. He's like, man, the sound sounds good. He's like, kudos. And I was like, yeah, you should try listening to the early episodes when it wasn't as nearly as good.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think we our first few episodes, man, were a lot more happy hour than they were fun time. Like that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, we, we wouldn't have as much center there, much direction.
we were like
The last thing,
really super terrific, happy fun
well,
time.
the first episode, I think we each, well, not each, but we probably went through 8 or 10 beers just on the first episode or two.
Yeah, it
And
was.
you could hear the cans like crushing as they're like kind of stacking it. Um, I went
we're
through last thing before I let you go.
we're more responsible
You,
podcasters now, though.
we are. I renamed some of the episodes. I took it because remember it used to be like, for instance, the last one was Choey and Jandler's the Fun Time Super Happy Hour, the one with the nervous farter. I
Yeah,
took off all of the title, like our podcast title. I was like, we're just gonna call it the one with the nervous farter. That way, it's easier to see because I'd always look at these analytics, and they'd say like your episode rankings,
yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know which one that is, but see now I can see. Oh, our most played episode was the one with the pilot. I'm like, cool. So
Does it?
I like it that way.
Oh no,
It kind of went down there.
I know. I'm like,
We
we
gotta we
gotta.
gotta be we gotta be promoting it more. It's just what it is, but that's it's
I'm all
getting that word out,
no.
getting that word out. Um, Watch there be a new country now. And I'm like, oh, I didn't see you. What am I looking at? This overview is what I want to see. See,
Ye-
32 Spotify followers. We hopefully we'll get that up going.
Yeah.
Like I said, my next big plan is our next big hope. If we get the flat Choey and Jandler out, that could expand our international listeners.
Just our listeners in general.
Yeah. Or that or plan B is like I said, you just befriend um Ryan Reynolds, man. Yeah.
I mean, if he was to do that, I don't know that we'd keep doing that our podcast. I'd probably just go work for him and get a lot of money.
Yeah. Tell you what, man, that guy does know. That guy knows how to sell businesses, man.
That's
He
true.
knows what he's doing. He knows how to market. He markets his off, you know.
He does.
But all right, man. So until next episode, unless
See
you
ya.
got something you want to add,
No, see
you
y'all
good?
See everybody else.